The Thursday edition. I am so excited because, one of the most important things you need for your business is visibility, and to grow it, that's going to help. And that's what WSA, Women Speakers Association, helps members do. And I'm here today with the fabulous Michela Quilici. Hi, Michela. She is the Director of Global Operations and Training here at Women Speakers Association. Hi, Michela.
Hi, Laura. Good to be here.
Great to have you. So the first thing I want to jump right into is let's cover why visibility can make or break a business.
Such a juicy question. So my question for those watching is, how are you showcasing your expertise and how are you educating your buyer so that they choose you over your competition? What we know is that the research has shown us that some of the top challenges that business owners have, actually 63% of business owners say that some of their top challenges are around generating leads and attracting customers. Attracting customers, you need visibility to do that, right? So it's no wonder, because buyers are looking at so many more pieces of information these days before they make a buying decision. I think the latest research is saying that between 15 and 27 different sources of information before they buy. And so this is why visibility is super important, because today's buyers are actually researchers. And it makes it even more important these days to be visible, to create quality content, to stay top of mind, and to really position yourself as an expert. And so that's really the key here is to business growth, right? Is visibility plus credibility equals profitability. So really, visibility is that stage one. And within that visibility, you are then creating credibility for yourself as you're sharing your expertise, what you know, how you support, and really informing people on and educating them on your offer and what you do for people. So it's really, really important, because without that visibility and credibility, you won't be able to really attract those customers and grow your business. So it's a crucial one, Laura. It's a make it or break it.
It is. I love it when somebody says to me, I've seen you somewhere. Like whether I've met them on a Zoom networking meeting or at WSA, or I meet them out in person, or we happen to land somehow, they saw something somewhere else. They saw me on an event and I know I've seen you somewhere, or, we met years ago and I'm so glad I see you again, so that I've seen you somewhere really goes a long way. So I like to say, when people are creating that content you talked about, it's very powerful and you never know who it's impacting, and it builds on itself, because you said consumers need multiple hits basically of you. They need to see you multiple times. So given that, what's important to consider when putting together an overarching visibility strategy?
Yeah, so there's three key prongs, if you will. One is mindset. Who are you being? Second is strategy. What are you doing? And number three is implementation. How are you doing it? So strategy alone will not get you where you need to be. You can get strategies from books, you can get on the internet. I mean, Google things, it's all there, right? We don't need more books and more strategies, right? I'm sure we're full up with ideas. So it's not about the ideas so much as how you're really creating for yourself a comprehensive roadmap, if you will. I like to use roadmaps as analogies for helping you get to where you want to get to. So, number one, if you want to get your message out there, you got to dare to be visible. You have to dare to be visible. This is the first mindset piece. And, you have to be that sort of person who gives herself permission to be seen. That's step number one. And that, I know we all have a story around that. And, I know I have a story, and Laura, you've got a story around what we have had to do to overcome and to really continue to show up and allow ourselves to be seen, so that we can really step into that space that we need to be in order to really move forward and reap the benefits. You got to take the long view. I love what you said, Laura, about, people seeing you, and they've seen you different places over time, over months, over years. And this can happen. It's a long view. I think a lot of the times we're looking for quick hits, right? We show up at a few places, we don't get the results we're looking for, and then we say, oh, well, I'm not going to bother going, or, this isn't working. That's a mindset reframe right there. It's a marathon, right? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Nobody's going to marry you on the first date, I don't think. Right? You got to keep showing up. So that's a really, really important piece of it. Your audience has to see your face. They need to hear your voice. They need to read your words. They need to feel your energy. They need to know you. They need to get to know you, like you, and trust you. You know all this, right? And they want you to help them. But that it's really about that consumption. Like, consumption leads to conversion. So what are you doing to continue to show up?
And that consistency is so important because it builds that credibility you were talking about.
Exactly. So that consistency needs to be part of the strategy, right? How are you, you've got to share your message in a better way, in a more consistent way, in a compelling way, and continue to retool that and continue to show up in places where your audience is hanging out. So part of the strategy is don't be everywhere. Don't max yourself out. Pick those couple few places where you're super aligned to the people who are there, and that's where your audience hangs out, and focus on those few initiatives and keep showing up. And so, yeah, when you're really connecting with your audience at that deeper level with your message, you're really creating an opportunity for yourself to grow your visibility and to grow your authority. And that's what it is. It's you're planting seeds that are growing for later. So that's the reframe that I invite you to think about in terms of, the importance of the visibility, but the strategy around continuing to show up and making sure it's implementable, right? Is it feasible for you to be, networking every day? Probably not. So pick those handful few of places. Pick what your commitment is in terms of how you want to show up, where you want to show up, get it in the calendar so that it's implementable for you.
Yes. And know your limits, right? Know what your limits are. But consistency is key, and the long game mindset. I love those takeaways because it's going to happen. Something's going to happen if you keep putting in energy, but if you give up or you think it's like, I've got the one magic bullet that's going to make it, that's kind of a fantasy.
It is.
Yeah.
It's totally unrealistic. And this is where, again, that whole mindset piece around, like, what is the expectation? I know sometimes when I used to run events, live events, there would be people that would come into the room, and they'd come once and they'd work the room, so to speak. And then I'd never see them again. And, when I talk to them, it's like, well, I didn't meet anybody. I didn't, nobody didn't get any clients. Yeah. Well, what's the expectation, right? You can't just show up once, and I like to say, don't be a one night stand networker, right? you gotta keep showing up. So that's super key.
Showing up and building those relationships. And that's really also the key to visibility, because when you're top of mind, you can build those relationships with people. You're not a stranger coming in for that one night stand type of thing. You're the person who's there, and then you're there again, and then you're there again, and then they see you over here. And then by that time, they're like, I want to be your friend, or I want to work with you. Right. Mm-hmm. So you're doing a training for Women Speakers Association. We call it the Speaker Success Training. It happens on the second Wednesday of each month. And so it's May 11th, and it's happening at 11 a.m. Pacific, on how Women Speakers Association really can help women get more visibility, do these things, get that mindset. So, but specifically, what will people learn? Why should they come?
So for the premier members in the room, you've joined Women Speakers Association, you've made a great investment in yourself and your business. Now what, right? Or maybe you've been thinking about becoming a premier member. A lot of the times when we talk to members, when we hear from members after they join, some of them, they don't know where to start. They get overwhelmed. They don't know what to do first. Some of them don't do anything. and then nothing happens, right? And if you don't work your membership, it doesn't work for you. And so this is one of the reasons why we decided to have this training, because whether you've been a member for a decade or a day, or you're thinking about becoming a member, this is your opportunity to really get supported based on where you're at. So you'll learn how to really leverage the platform and learn some key things. So I'm going to have 4 special guests with me. It's going to be a bit of a panel discussion as well as a training on May 11th. And these are a really active Premier members. You will know who they are. You've seen their faces around a lot. They are really showing up inside the community, and they've got some personal experiences and strategies and tips to share based on their journey and how they've found their way inside the community, and what their nuggets of wisdom are that they're going to share. So you'll learn how to create exposure by using leverage, by tapping into what's already available, not by working harder. Has some tips on how to get reach, connect with more like-minded women globally. Also, how to use your membership to get more speaking gigs. I know a lot of you want to more speaking opportunities. Some of you want to sell more of your books. Some of you want to create collaborative opportunities. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and how you're going to, what some considerations are, what some tips are, and what some of the tools within and experiences within the network that we have available that can support you. And, you're also going to be faced with some of your mindset shifts too. We're going to be talking a little bit about that to really enable you to identify like what's holding you back from really stepping into doing what you need to do, because you've got this access to the membership. You know what some of the tools are already, and yet there's maybe some hesitancy, maybe there's some overwhelm, maybe there's just not sure how to really plug in and really do it the most effective way. So we are going to really sit with that and share with that, so that you can really step into who you need to be, so that you can really do what you need to do, so that you can have what you really want. So this will open up some doors for you that you maybe didn't even know existed. So it's going to be a really, really great training, super interactive and fun, and you'll take away a lot. But a lot, you don't even have to take away a lot. You're going to take away the one thing that you're going to be able to implement, take action on. We're actually going to give you an opportunity. Everybody that comes onto the call and stays for the duration of the call, you are going to have a special invitation for a one-on-one deeper dive. And so this is really an opportunity to have, to get some clarity, for you to get some clarity, to figure out what's the one place within the community that you can really tap into for the greatest impact. So you'll have that. And, that's the beauty of being a member, is you have access. It's very personalized. It's very customized. And we're here to support you every step of the way. So it's going to be a great training for those of you who show up. So make sure you show up.
And I will vouch for that. Every training I've ever seen you do, Michela, you are a wealth of knowledge and well worth the price of admission. And oh, by the way, is there a price to this?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't think so.
I think it's free.
I think it's free. Yeah, part of the Premier membership is that you do get access to the trainings and the tools and resources. And I believe we've also made this one complimentary for non-members as well. So
I believe so too. So to verify that, find out, go to speakersuccesstraining.com, speakersuccesstraining.com. You'll get right into the Zoom registration link. There's a button there for you can learn more about this. But I wanted to just say, like what you pointed to with the people who you're going to hear from, who are Premier members, they're active. And guess what? Their visibility is breeding more visibility. So you get into that, you step in and you put your toe in the pond of visibility, it ripples out. So this would be a great place to start, especially with that generous offer of the deeper dive. It's like, what is the one thing you can do to put your toe in the water and make those ripples happen for you with visibility and really amplify that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you've heard Gail say it a million times. Your message matters. And you have a responsibility to really take that message forward and make the impact that you know you were born to make with it, and create the ripple effect, as Laura's saying, into your life, your family, your community, the world. And this is the time to do it. And so we encourage you to step into this and see what we can create together on May 11th.
May 11th at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. And you can do the math for the other time zones. Just put it in your little time zone calculator. But it is the Speaker Success Training with Women Speakers Association, really geared for showing you how visibility pays. What's the main thing you can do to grow your visibility? And I just can't wait for all the women who are going to show up to step into their voice more, because like you said, Michela, like Gail always says, your message matters. And the women, when we come together, we are unstoppable. So enjoy the Speaker Success Training. You can find it at speakersuccesstraining.com, and don't miss it. Thanks so much, Michela. We'll see you there.